as he was traversing surface streets before getting onto the 605 freeway. So certainly a fair amount of desperation behind the wheel here. Not sure what other crimes may have been committed, but we do understand that this is believed to be a stolen vehicle at this point. Yeah, we haven't heard of any specific collisions yet, but certainly a couple of close calls before we joined. And incidentally, he's now transitioning to the 91 freeway, which happens to be, I think, the freeway that the pursuit was initiated. He was on the 91 freeway earlier on. This is now going in excess of a half-hour pursuit. And you're right to point out that all of his lights have been turned off. The vehicle is completely blacked out. In fact, the only way other motorists on the road can see him is thanks to that night sun provided by that helicopter. Other than that, it is almost appears to be a black truck with, again, all the lights off, transitioning yet again, looks like off of the 91 freeway, still doing extreme speeds here, a little wobbly. You're right to point out he kind of fishtailed slightly during that transition. Now getting onto surface streets, a wild right turn at a high rate of speed here. Now heading on to Brookhurst Street. This is concerning to say the least, because with that kind of driving and certainly the unpredictable nature of this suspect, you'd much rather see it on the freeway. But now he is once again on surface streets where he has proven to drive extremely dangerously, both at high rates of speed, and again, as I mentioned, at one point even going the wrong way through a residential area. Now, once again, we find ourselves on a different surface street in another residential area, southbound on Willowbrook, I believe, near Grayson. You're right. That's right. You're 100% right, David. In fact, it's remarkable that the vehicle is out. I mean, it almost didn't even catch my eye until we came around that backside, and you can clearly see that his right rear tire is missing. I can't believe the control of this vehicle. By the way, you can see when that night sun is pointed in a different direction, just how hard it is to see him with his headlights and taillights blacked out like that. So you have a pickup truck with an unpredictable driver behind the wheel, driving with the lights off and no rear left tire, or I'm sorry, no rear right tire. I can't believe that truck is driving in a straight line right now. Remarkable control, considering that somehow he's lost that tire. Now, how that happened, we don't know. Whether that happened during the course of this pursuit, whether there was an attempt at a spike strip that we're not aware of, or maybe this was, it's a stolen vehicle. How that tire came off, we really have no idea at this point. But again, remarkable control considering the condition of this vehicle. Now that we know that the tire is missing, you can see it's an older model Nissan pickup. Doesn't appear to be anybody else in the passenger seat, at least that I could tell from this vantage point. Now going underneath the 91 freeway, he's coming back through the other side there, approaching Roberta Avenue on Gilbert Street. So certainly appears that he's making it up as he goes along here. A lot of random turns, doesn't have a clear destination in mind, but slowing down just a little bit with this traffic coming up in his way. Yes, squeezing right through that. I thought he was going to park it for a second. Just squeezing right through, weaving around that one car, and now maybe coming up on another intersection here, but nonetheless slowing down once again. Yep, looks like another red light going through this res, cross traffic coming up here. Definitely a dangerous driver, willing to blow through that red light there, despite the few cars on the road there. That could have been trouble. But in any event, he is now on Orangethorpe Avenue, and that there goes that wheel starting to spark. The metal from that wheel is starting to spark for sure. A little bit, hard to tell, but certainly that would make sense considering we saw a little bit of fishtail action on that one transition road. I apologize that my picture has frozen. I'm not sure if you guys can still see it, but I have, yeah, okay, here we go. He's coming under the freeway here. It's surprising that we haven't seen more sparks up until now, considering that that tire is gone. Maybe there was a little bit of tread left somehow, and he just lost it in the last few minutes, but nonetheless, it is a completely bare wheel, a bare rim, metal on asphalt. Again, I can't believe we're not seeing more sparks at this rate, but the vehicle still able to maintain a fair amount of control as he continues down surface streets, now on Magnolia Avenue here in Anaheim. Right, and now we're in Orange County, which is going to be a whole different set of agencies that have to decide whether they want to get involved here, whether they want to pursue him, or whether they decide to let him go. California Highway Patrol appears to have fallen way back. You have an LA County Sheriffship overhead in Orange County, presumably calling out the location on the radio. Whether those Orange County agencies or the Orange County Sheriff's Department decides to get involved is still yet to be seen here, but in any enough that we're going to keep a close eye on this. You're seeing a lot more sparks now coming from that right rear wheel, which is completely bare, no tire left on there, and he's back in another residential neighborhood, this time in the area of Bellflower Drive, continuing south now towards the 91 freeway once again. So he's kind of zigzagging his way through here, and it looks like he is going to do a full loop in this neighborhood here. A stolen vehicle now coming up right past Knott's Berry Farm here as he makes his way through this residential neighborhood. Appears to be only the driver on board there. And now that we pull back along his passenger side, you can see that right rear wheel, as you mentioned, David, completely bare of any tire, no tire left. And key to point out that we do not know how he lost that tire. Now going the wrong way on Primrose Avenue, making another right turn here into a dead end, a little cul-de-sac here. Whether he knew that or not, looks like he caught him by surprise. He's going to come back on to onto Primrose. No, going through it, going the opposite direction, and he will maybe find himself in yet another cul-de-sac. Sure enough, he appears to be very, very lost. We don't know the condition of that driver, his mental state, as you mentioned, David, only to say that this appears to be a Grand Theft Auto suspect now going for a joyride, making this up as he goes along without any law enforcement behind him. The only thing he knows is that night sun overhead coming from the helicopter. He's, at some point during this pursuit, shut off all of his lights, but still they are doing a remarkable job of keeping tabs on him. Eventually, when this comes to an end, you would presume that regardless of what jurisdiction he's in, he may be cornered by law enforcement. But right now, we've been off the freeway for several minutes and have not seen any sign of either the CHP or any other Orange County authorities. Yeah, and one of the things that we might not be seeing, and I stress might because I really don't know, and it's very difficult to tell, especially in Orange County. They operate a little bit differently, and it's difficult to tell whether they may be tracking him from some of the surrounding streets. So maybe they're not right behind him. Maybe they are purposely not trying to spook him and trying not to accelerate things here, but just kind of keeping an eye on him from a distance so that if it does come to an end, or if he decides to park it and foot bail out of the vehicle, just dump the vehicle somewhere and try to find a spot to hide, then they can move in quickly without agitating him or without him stepping on the gas in the middle of a residential neighborhood, as you mentioned, Colleen. It's already dangerous enough, and if you have that resource of the helicopter right above him, able to keep such a close, solid visual of the suspect, then maybe it's not worth bothering him at this rate. In any event, that could change at any minute. Right now, he's back on La Palma Avenue, coming up on Stanton Avenue, and doing, I would say, probably the speed limit as he makes his way down La Palma Avenue. But nonetheless, remarkable that he's still able to maintain such control of that pickup truck without any tire on that right rear wheel. It's interesting and like I said, surprising all at the same time. Now, this is interesting to see him pull into a random parking lot. Whether this is intentional or he sees an opportunity to dump the vehicle, that may be, yeah, it looks like he's just going to randomly park it. He's double parked there, shutting the driver's side door behind him, and now running into, we'll see what this is. Is it a hotel, a motel, or maybe an apartment complex? I can't make out. It looks like an apartment complex. An apartment complex at Beach Boulevard and Highway 39, running through the apartment complex. Still no law enforcement in the vicinity that we could see other than that Sheriff's Department helicopter, and it looks like he's maybe climbing a wall here. We're going to come around this the rear of this building, and we'll see if we can catch another glimpse of him, but he ran right through that alleyway, under the power lines, through that tree, and I'm not sure if he came out the other side or if he's still hiding in that alleyway, but certainly appears to be a situation where he just decided to dump that stolen vehicle and now finding a spot to hide out. Well, I would imagine that my suspicion that maybe Orange County was maybe waiting in the wings was probably wrong, because by now they would have encountered that suspect and flooded this area with more black and whites. Here comes a couple. They come down Oleander here and going to start to form a little bit of a perimeter, being guided in by that helicopter. But at this point, it's going to be a tough find unless he's still hiding right under that tree. He could very well have come around the back of the building and run down the side there, but I haven't seen him, and I certainly, based on the fact that he's keeping his nights on, that helicopter's keeping that light on the rear of that building, leads me to believe they haven't seen him run away either. So they're going to make their way into this area, try and find him in that alleyway, and if they haven't found him by then, it may be that they're now looking towards an IHOP in the area. Let's go ahead and widen out a little bit more, Kyle, and see if you can find, there's the IHOP. There may have been a spotting of him coming around the building towards the restaurant. So you've got the helicopter keeping an eye on, oh, they're looking towards the Chase building now. That's somebody else, but they're now looking between this IHOP and the Chase building. and I can't tell whether this is somebody who's okay. Look at that. Okay, that's him running through traffic now. He's obviously, I think he took his sweater off. He was wearing a hoodie before, and I think he took his hoodie off. Now running through another parking lot, past another restaurant, into another shopping center, and now we have to see how desperate this person is because, well, he could now take things into his own hands here and really pose a danger to other people depending on what his motivation is here. But he is trying to get away, trying to outrun a helicopter, which is really impossible. But it certainly appears they now have units in the area that are going to try and triangulate this position and eventually catch up to him. He's going to run out of steam here in a little bit. He's running very quick, covering quite a bit of ground. He's going to have to jump this wall or turn around here, now in between a bunch of different buildings here, Colleen. Yeah. Here he comes. He might come out with his hands up here now that he has encountered law enforcement. He's going to presume the position and get proned out in that parking lot. You see he's actually still carrying that gray hoodie that he was wearing during the pursuit as he jumped out of the pickup truck. He's still carrying it. He just decided to take it off and change his appearance, but certainly it appears that this has come to an end as he puts his hands and arms out, and these officers attempt to take him into custody. I can't make out which agency is involved here. I don't think it's Highway Patrol. There's a canine unit there on the left and several more behind him, but this is possibly Anaheim PD who is bringing this to an end now. Yeah, the scary thing and the thing that really concerned me there is he was running through those businesses, and even when he was running through traffic, depending on the mental state, they have to worry about, okay, is he going to try and carjack somebody? Is he going to run into a business or a residence and hold a hostage if, or whatever possibilities are out there? They have to take all that into consideration. I was hoping, obviously, that maybe they would catch up with him sooner, and what they ended up doing was catching up with him on the other side of this commercial district, and they managed to do a very good job at that, following the guidance of that helicopter to take him into custody here. But fortunately, he did not harm anybody during this pursuit, and it looks like this is coming to a peaceful resolution. So he appears to be following their instructions. We have several black and whites pulling up right now. Incidentally, we're just a couple of blocks, literally, from Knott's Berry Farm in a commercial district. He ran through a series of restaurants, running through traffic after he dumped that vehicle, and now encounters law enforcement where it appears he is giving up peacefully, again, without anybody else being injured over the course of this pursuit. Guys? No worries. All good. Copy. So it appears to be Anaheim police, if I'm not mistaken here, perhaps another Orange County Sheriff unit or a combination of the two. In any event, they have the suspect at gunpoint as he follows their commands here, and that's actually Buena Park. Yeah, Buena Park PD in this felony. Well, I should say taking part in this arrest now as he now crawls towards police officers. Presumably that's what they're asking him to do, and it appears that he's following their orders, but they, if you notice, here in Orange County, they waited till they had several units of backup present here before they asked him to start moving. So now he's crawling on his hands and knees in the direction of those law enforcement officers where they will take him into custody. He's coming towards that canine unit right there, and they will take him in here any second. But it does look like he has petered out towards the end of that the end of that little run that he took, and really lost whatever energy he had left. Sharp eye by that LA County Sheriff's helicopter, who really copy. Right, nobody else inside that pickup truck that we can tell, and now Buena Park frisking the suspect and placing him under arrest after a wild ride. Again, all of this taking place adjacent to Knott's Berry Farm as he ran through traffic and then through a bunch of restaurants in the area. Fortunately, coming out on the other end where he was encountered by these law enforcement officers. Again, great news here, nobody else hurt during this pursuit, but still, the driving was dangerous, and certainly you don't know what this suspect was capable of. Fortunately, it's all come to a peaceful end. David?